What if I told you the biggest reason people fail in life has nothing to do with talent, money, or even opportunity, but something far more dangerous, hidden in plain sight? A lesson so dark, so uncomfortable, that even Dale Carnegie, one of the most optimistic self-help authors in history, reluctantly uncovered it. And when he didn't just whisper it. He turned it into a warning about the one thing that ruins relationships, careers, and even nations. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we're diving into Dale Carnegie's darkest insight about human nature, the one he discovered after decades of studying people, criminals, politicians, leaders, and you and me. Carnegie was known for helping people get better. He believed in the power of empathy, listening, and communication. But behind his warmth was a chilling observation. 99 times out of 100, people don't criticize themselves no matter how wrong they may be. Let that sink in. This wasn't a quote buried in some obscure interview. It was in his legendary book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it was about Al Capone, one of the most violent gangsters in American history. Capone murdered, bribed, and extorted his way through Chicago. But when arrested, here's what he said. "I've spent the best years of my life giving people the lighter pleasures, helping them have a good time. And all I get is abuse, the existence of a hunted man." He thought he was a victim, not a villain. This was Carnegie's darkest discovery. People will do terrible things and still think they're right. Why is this terrifying? Because it means people can justify betrayal. People can rationalize cruelty. People will destroy others and still feel like the hero. And here's the twist. It's not just evil people, it's us, you, me. We all have a self-image we protect at any cost. Ever seen a co-worker take credit for something and genuinely believe they deserved it? Ever been in an argument where someone twisted the facts and then believed their version? Ever watched someone ruin a relationship, then blame the other person entirely? That's self-justification. And it's the silent destroyer of relationships, careers, and lives. Carnegie's insight: we are all masters of justifying our actions, no matter how wrong they are. Let's go deeper. There's a psychological term for this: cognitive dissonance. When our actions don't match our beliefs, we change our beliefs to avoid guilt. For example, a liar says, "I only lie when necessary." A cheater says, "My partner pushed me to do this." A corrupt boss says, "I'm just trying to survive in this system." Dale Carnegie studied hundreds of cases like this. He saw the same thing over and over. People will seldom criticize themselves. No matter how wrong they are, they will justify, deny, and shift blame. That's the darkest lesson. People aren't evil because they know they're wrong. They're dangerous because they believe they're right. Here's a story that will haunt you. After World War II, a chilling question echoed in the minds of psychologists like Leon Festinger and thinkers like Dale Carnegie. How could seemingly ordinary men, fathers, husbands, churchgoers, become architects of horror? Take the case of a Nazi camp commandant captured and imprisoned after the war. He was responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands. When asked how he could bear the weight of that atrocity, he didn't flinch. He didn't cry. He didn't even hesitate. He said, "I was just following orders. I did my duty. I was a good soldier." No guilt, no remorse. Just cold, mechanical justification. So, how can someone commit evil and feel nothing? It's not just a question of psychology. It's a mirror into the darkest corners of human nature. Because once your belief system justifies your actions, you're no longer a villain. You're a protector, a patriot, a defender of your people. That's how atrocities are born, not through hate alone, but through self-deception. We don't just lie to others, we lie to ourselves. Let's fast forward. The same chilling pattern has echoed through time. America invades. Weapons of mass destruction were the claim, but none were found. Cities were flattened. Hundreds of thousands of lives were lost, many civilians. Years later, a former US soldier was asked how he justified it. He said, "We were spreading democracy. We were liberating them." He believed it. He had to believe it. Because admitting he'd killed innocent people for a lie? That was unbearable. Hospitals bombed, children buried under rubble. An IDF soldier interviewed anonymously said, "We're protecting our borders. Every strike is for Israel's survival." And yet, the images show otherwise. Refugee camps destroyed, ambulances targeted, entire families wiped out. But just like the Nazi officer or the American Marine, they don't feel like monsters. They feel like heroes. Because the human mind is built not for truth, but for survival. Carnegie's darkest lesson. A person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. You can show people the facts, the blood, the bodies, the broken lives, but if their ego is involved, if their identity is tied to their beliefs, then facts don't change minds. In fact, facts make people double down. Why? Because the need to feel right is more powerful than the need to do right. This isn't just theory. This is the engine of genocide, of war, of injustice. It's why good people defend bad things, why kind people commit cruel acts, and why we must learn to look inward before pointing fingers outward. Here's a question Carnegie would ask his students. Can you look in the mirror and say, "I am not always right. I have been wrong. I have hurt people, and it was my fault"? Most people can't. They'd rather protect their self-image than confront the truth. So when someone criticizes them, they explode, or withdraw, or play victim. Why? Because the ego is fragile, and Carnegie saw it as the root of conflict. This is why he taught, never criticize openly. Never say, "You're wrong," always let others save face. She wasn't just to be polite, it was to avoid triggering the human defense mechanism of self-justification. Let's talk about the three faces we all wear, according to Dale Carnegie's philosophy. Most people think they have just one identity, but the truth is, we wear masks, layers, personas, three faces, and they shape every decision we make, especially the ones we pretend are logical. Number 1. The face. We show others. This is our public mask. Polished, rehearsed, filtered through Instagram, LinkedIn, or a carefully worded email. We smile at the boss even when we hate our job. We nod politely even when we disagree. We post quotes about kindness even if we yelled at someone 10 minutes ago. This face is designed not for truth, but for acceptance, to be liked, to belong, to avoid conflict. It's not who we are, it's who we want others to think we are. This is the Carnegie version of winning friends, but it's only the surface. Number 2. The face. We want to believe. This one's even trickier because it lives inside our head. It's the story we tell ourselves to sleep at night. I'm a good person. I mean well. I didn't lie, I just didn't share all the details. I only yelled because they disrespected me. This inner face is powerful because it doesn't care if it's true. It only cares if it's comfortable. This is how someone cheats on their partner but still calls themselves loyal. It's how a corrupt politician says, "I serve the people." It's how an abusive parent says, "It's tough love." This face isn't about fact. It's about preserving our ego. Carnegie understood that when he said, "When dealing with people, remember you are not dealing with creatures of logic, but creatures of emotion." And that includes ourselves. Number 3, the face of reality. Now here's the one most of us never want to confront. It's raw, ugly, uncomfortable. This face is the sum of our flaws, the lies we told, the envy we hide, the guilt we suppress, the people we hurt but justify hurting. This is the version of ourselves that shows up at 3 a.m. when it's quiet, when no one's watching, when the noise of daily life fades, and we see what we've become. Most people run from this face. Some drown it in alcohol, some cover it with status, others escape into busyness, meetings, posts, likes, distractions, but it's always there, watching, waiting. Carnegie didn't write his books to help us pretend. He wrote them to help us cope. Because in a world where honesty is punished and perfection is expected, survival often means wearing the mask too well. The tragedy? Sometimes we wear the mask so long, we forget who we were underneath. We start believing our own lies. We think our curated life is our real life, until a crisis rips the mask off, and we're forced to confront the stranger in the mirror. Carnegie didn't just teach people how to be liked. He warned us about the cost of not understanding human nature. We don't change through shame. We don't change through logic. We change when someone sees past all 3 faces and still treats us like we're worth saving. So next time someone wrongs you, don't just ask, what's wrong with them? Ask, what face are they trying to protect? And next time you lie to yourself, catch it. Gently, without judgment. That's the beginning of growth. That's how we stop repeating history. That's how we stop becoming the villain in someone else's story. A real story from a Carnegie training seminar. A young man named Amir worked at a marketing firm. He was smart, but arrogant. Every time his ideas were criticized, he pushed back, blamed the team, argued. One day, he was passed over for a promotion he thought was guaranteed. When he confronted his boss, he said, "They just don't like strong personalities. I intimidate them with my talent." Carnegie would say, "No, Amir, you didn't intimidate them, you alienated them." But Amir couldn't see it. He justified it. Months later, after taking a Carnegie course, he had a breakthrough. I wasn't leading. I was bullying people into agreement. I didn't want to be challenged. I wanted to be right. That shift changed his career. Here's the paradox. We try to change others through logic and facts, but humans don't respond to logic until their ego is safe. This is why Carnegie's core techniques are ask questions instead of giving orders. Let the other person feel the idea is theirs. Talk about your own mistakes first. It's not manipulation. It's understanding human defense systems. If you want to influence someone, you first have to disarm their ego. Otherwise, no matter how valid your point is, they'll reject it to protect themselves. Even the darkest figures in history follow this rule. Adolf Hitler believed he was saving Germany. Mao Zedong believed he was building utopia. They weren't sitting in rooms, twisting moustaches and laughing like villains. They truly believed they were heroes. This is why Carnegie said, "Even the most brutal criminal can justify himself, and often does." This is not about excusing evil. It's about understanding it. Because when you understand the mental tricks humans use to justify horror, you begin to see we are all vulnerable to becoming the villain in someone else's story. So, how do we fight this? Carnegie believed the only way is through radical self-awareness. Here's how. Catch yourself justifying your own mistakes. They deserved it. I had no choice. Stop. Reflect. Practice saying, I was wrong. Not just in your mind. Out loud. It's a superpower. Give others space to be wrong without humiliation. Correct gently. Let them save face. Ask, if I were them, would I believe I was right? This builds empathy and protects you from self-righteousness. Here's a final story. True and powerful. A woman named Teresa was on the verge of divorce. Her husband was angry, distant, critical. She tried everything. Fighting, crying, even therapy. Then she read How to Win Friends and Influence People. One line stopped her cold. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. So she tried something new. One night, he complained about dinner being cold. Normally, she'd fire back. Instead, she smiled and said, I know it's been a long day. I can heat it up. That moment broke the pattern. Over the next weeks, she shifted how she responded. No criticism, no ego wars. And guess what? He softened. He apologized. He began noticing her effort. She said, once I stopped needing to be right, I became free. And so did he. So, what is Dale Carnegie's darkest lesson about human nature? It's this. We justify our wrongs, we believe our own lies, and we protect our egos even at the cost of others. But there's light in this darkness, because once you see the ego, you can control it. Once you understand how people defend themselves, you can guide them. And once you stop needing to be right, you start becoming powerful. If this resonated with you, like the video, subscribe for more psychology and personal development content. Comment below. Have you ever justified something you knew was wrong? Let's get honest.